After getting revenge on Derek, things got a little shifty at work. Part 46 of sharing my story on here because it's so much easier than writing another book. All of this bartending work, I had not been using my actual resume where I had been like doing business turnarounds and consulting, and I like understand business and how they flow really well. And I just wasn't having it. So I put in my resignation letter where I resigned from my job, and I put in my real resume at the same time. And I said, the only condition that I will continue to work here is if you put me in as an assistant general manager, because this place, there's too many losses. It's not making sense. You've got some major toxic things happening here. And I know that if I'm in a position of leadership, I can help fix them. And the general manager, and there's probably about 70 employees, maybe 75, like they're doing a few $1 million a year. Like it's a pretty good place, and it's an oyster house. So they have the boats coming in and the docks that are unloading in the back. And like there's money flow. And he's like, okay, you can have the job and you'll be an assistant general manager with these other two ladies. And I was like, okay, what I really want is to get into the kitchen and see why we're losing so much in there. And they wouldn't give me access to any of the books. Didn't really understand why yet, but I was like, okay, I'm going to get in here. So I start doing expo, and I'm talking to the cooks and I'm talking to the other expoers, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, why are we having so many losses? And over the course of 7 days, I discover that there's like about $100,000 worth of losses just from like the last 30 days that are like unaccounted for. And I'm like, I need to see the books. Like, how is this happening? Well, at the end of 7 days, the general manager brought me into his office, and he's like, you are far too overqualified for this job. And I got fired for the first time in my life ever. I was fired. And actually a few weeks later, I ended up talking to some of the cooks, and turns out they were running H through the docks. And it was like I had found enough that if I saw the books, I would blow the cover on the whole thing. So firing me was just easier. So that was interesting. But the day I got fired, I ended up getting a job down the street at another place that was a little bit fancier, a lot nicer. And I was bartending again. And this place was kind of fun because they had a boat dock where people would just park their boats and then come up and eat and go to the bar and then leave. And we had two bars. We had an inside bar and an outside bar. And this place was also doing a few $1 million a year. And it was really good, but they had, like, they were super busy. So having someone in the well at the inside bar who can handle the tickets was really intense. And there was just so many funky attitudes because these people like had been there for a long time. And the bar manager, she was a super sweet gal. I just started to work with her, and I'm like, come on, we got to like fix this place up because we can make more money. We can serve our customers better, and everything can just flow smoother. Within a few weeks of being there, she's like, you are far more qualified for my job. I would prefer to work for you. Would you take my position as the bar manager and I will be your bartender? And I was like, fuck yes. And so I jumped in and I hired my own assistant, one of the other gals. I was like, we're going to reorganize all the stock room. I was like, it makes so much more sense because I actually reduced the overhead, and by hiring an assistant, got things more organized and strategically. It worked. It worked for the bottom line. And then I fired all the other bartenders except myself, the assistant, and the gal who was the former bar manager, and one other dude because he could handle the speed well. And so I fired everybody and was restaffing the bar with people that actually wanted to work with integrity, because anytime you're serving alcohol, like, you have to make sure that people are getting home safe. Like, that is a really critical part. And in a small town in Texas, like, the saying of this town was, come on vacation, leave on probation, because people would come and get so drunk, and then everybody would drive because there was hardly any taxis or Ubers. Like, it was such a bad situation. And this whole time, like, Reed had been home with the kids and they're just going to the beach, and our son is feeling better. Like, he missed the cedar, so he's not paralyzed. They're like having a great time, and we live like 13 blocks from the beach, and like it's cool. We're just doing the beach life and we're having tons of fun with it. And then we hit our first hurricane season. I have never been in like hurricanes. Like, I've seen tornadoes, I've seen earthquakes, but I've not seen hurricanes. Like, this wasn't a thing. And everybody was like, oh, it's just a big party, everything's fun, the restaurant's gonna stay open, like, it's not a big deal. And so I'm like, cool, like, everything's awesome. Like, we're just gonna roll through this. We're gonna have a hurricane party. If you're not scared, I'm not scared. Let's just have a good time. The day before Hurricane Harvey hits, it starts being escalated. And they're like, oh, it's a 2, it's a 3, it's a 4. And the entire town goes into evacuation mode because it's time to start boarding everything up. And it's no longer hurricane party time. It is get the fuck out of here time. And I'm like, this is insane. And I've got to go to work, and I'm demanding paychecks for my staff because they're like, you got to go. And I'm like, we don't get paid till Friday. That's like the day after the hurricane. How are we supposed to go anywhere? So I'm demanding paychecks. I'm wrapping up my bar. I'm getting everything as protected as I can. Reed ties our trailer. Now, we didn't have a vehicle to pull the trailer, so he uses great big semi tie downs to tie our trailer to the big trees on the property. And we're just like, okay, we got to go. Hopefully everything's going to be fine, just like everybody says. They're like, oh, it's not going to hit. It's not going to be a big deal. And I'm just like, okay. We go and we stay with some people up in Cedar Park, back where we did live, because I had regular customers at the first bar in Austin that were like, oh, we understand hurricanes. You can evacuate to us and everything will be cool. So freaking grateful for this family because they let us come stay with them for a few days, and we watched the news like crazy because the Hurricane Harvey came in and it literally camped as a Category 4 right over Rockport for 13 hours. It destroyed 80% of the entire town. And we didn't know for days, like, if anything was left, what was remaining. Like, it was like, it's bad. And we just sat there and watched everything we had worked so hard for just be completely destroyed in one day. By about 2 or 3 days after the storm, I was like, I've got to go back there. I can't not know. I just need to see what's happening. And so we drive back, and those same people that we stayed with in Cedar Park, they also had a condo out in Port A. And they were like, you can stay at our condo. These people like literally saved our lives because we ended up staying in that condo for a few months. And without them, like, I don't know what would have happened. But we drove all the way back, and the federal guard is like not letting anyone into town. Reed wouldn't go with me, so I left the kids and Reed at the condo, and I drove up and got around the National Guard and literally just walked in so I could take pictures of our home, like our RV and what was left. And I'll throw a before and after on here so you can see, because it was like nothing I have ever experienced.